After 30 minutes of fear, a millionaire's heartwarming act of kindness transformed a man's life. Jake sat in a corner booth at the diner, his heart pounding in his chest like a drum, the air thick with the smell of grease and disappointment. He was trapped, the walls closing in as his landlord, a tall man with a permanent scowl, towered over him. "You've got 30 days to pay up, Jake," the landlord growled, eyes blazing with fury as patrons turned to witness the showdown. Humiliation washed over Jake like ice water. Heat crept up his neck as whispers swirled around the diner, each one a reminder that he had failed as a provider for his family. The landlord stormed out. The weight of impending eviction crashed down. Bills piled high on the kitchen table back home, taunting him like a bully on the playground. Maria was worried, and their kids, small and innocent, had no idea what was happening. "We've always been a self-sufficient family," Jake thought, but pride was now his greatest enemy. Seeking help felt like a weakness. He imagined his father's disappointment, the lessons of hard work, persistence ringing in his ears. As he sipped his lukewarm coffee, a colorful flyer caught his eye, a charity gala hosted by Charles, the affluent businessman known for giving back to the community. "Why not?" Jake muttered to himself, desperation overpowering vanity. He could feel the tightness in his chest loosen ever so slightly at the thought of stepping into a world that felt foreign yet strangely enticing. When he arrived at the venue that evening, Jake felt like a fish out of water. The decorations sparkled under the chandeliers. Laughter and clinking glasses filled the air. He stood at the edge of the crowd, his hands shoved into the pockets of his worn-out jeans. Men and women mingled, clad in designer attire, sipping on wines that cost more than his grocery bill. A knot formed in his stomach, but deep down, a flicker of hope danced with the promise of change. As Charles took to the stage, Jake listened intently. "We all face struggles," Charles said, his voice warm and inviting. "We must lift each other up during our toughest times." For the first time, Jake felt connected to the man. He understood that despite their different lives, both battled their own demons. Lost in thought, a stranger approached him. "You look like you could use a friend," she said, her voice kind yet firm. Before he knew it, Jake was sharing his story, the weight of his worries spilling out. "I don't want to be a burden. I just want to provide for my family," he admitted, tears threatening to escape. "Sometimes, accepting help is the strongest thing you can do," she said softly. Just then, an idea ignited in Charles's mind. He decided to take action, a plan forming that would impact Jake's life in ways he had never imagined. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. As the night wore on, the lights twinkled and laughter filled the air, but Jake felt an internal battle raging. To accept help from a millionaire, or to insist on shouldering the burden alone. It seemed they were both reaching out, seeking a bridge across the chasm of pride and desperation. Standing beneath the brilliance of the city lights, Jake's heart raced. Would he change his story tonight? Would he dare to step out of the shadows of pride and embrace the light of community? The night had transformed him, yet the choice still hung in the air. Would he take that leap? Jake breathed in deeply, feeling the warmth of connection swell within him, grappling with the new path before him. Would tomorrow be a turning point, or would he go back to struggling alone? Jake stood there, the diner's fluorescent lights still vivid in his mind as he stepped into the bustling gala. Laughter and music swirled around him like an inviting embrace, yet his heart raced with uncertainty. He could feel the weight of his worries pressing against him, a stubborn wall he had built around himself. The stranger's words echoed in his ears. "Accepting help is the strongest thing you can do." What did that even mean? He had always prided himself on being the one to provide, not the one to take. Surrounded by glitz and glamour, he felt like an imposter. Would they still see him, a man struggling to scrape by? Charles's figure moved through the crowd, exuding warmth and authority. Jake watched him interact with guests, laughing, sharing stories that lingered in the air like the aroma of a fine meal. It was clear. Here was a man who knew how to connect. But could someone like him ever truly understand someone like Jake? The gala slowly unfolded as Jake remained fixed in place, the conversation rushing past him like a tidal wave. He caught snippets of tales of grandeur, success, and persistence, and the stories washed over him, leaving him feeling smaller. The longer he stood there, the more the knot in his stomach tightened. To approach Charles felt like climbing a mountain without ropes. Finally, the stranger who had encouraged him earlier reappeared beside him. "You're still here. Have you talked to anyone yet?" Her green eyes sparkled with sincerity. "And no," he stammered. "I don't know if I should. Just take a breath. You're a part of this night too, whether you realize it or not." There was something comforting about her encouragement. For the first time that night, he felt a flicker of courage spark within him. What if he spoke to Charles? Was that all it took to simply start a conversation? He took a step, then another, the pounding of his heart loud in his ears. As he approached a small group surrounding Charles, words almost failed him. The business mogul caught his eye, sensing the uncertainty radiating off Jake. "Hey there, join us." Charles' voice rang out with genuine enthusiasm, as though inviting an old friend to sit down beside him. Before he knew it, Jake found himself swept into the conversation, caught up in an exchange about dreams and determination. "I admire those who fight to provide for their families. It's a noble calling," Charles said, looking directly at Jake. "What do you do?" The question hung in the air, and Jake felt the gravity of his response. Should he share his truth? The fear of judgment bubbled beneath the surface, but he could see a glimmer of something sincere in Charles's eyes. I work manual jobs. I'm a father trying to make ends meet." The words spilled out before he could think otherwise, vulnerability overshadowing his instinct to hide. There was a pause, a moment where time felt suspended, and then Charles nodded. "I see you, Jake. We all have our struggles. Why not let me help?" Jake's heart raced. Was this real? It felt surreal, a moment suspended between hope and disbelief. Just then, a voice called Charles away, leaving Jake standing there, adrenaline coursing through him. He was left alone with that small group, a mix of eager eyes looking at him with curiosity, the echoes of encouragement still lingering in the room. They wanted to know more, to hear his story. Would he share it? Jake inhaled deeply, the choice before him. In that moment, the uncertainty began to dissipate, revealing a growing clarity. Perhaps this was what stepping into the light of community truly meant, a chance to connect, to embrace help, and ultimately, transform their lives together. As the night stretched on, Jake felt the weight of pride slowly lift, replaced by anticipation and the thrill of possibility. He knew this was just the beginning. But what if sharing his truth could unlock the very help he desperately needed? In that moment of vulnerability, one thought loomed larger than the rest. What leap would he take next? And could he finally bridge the gap between survival and hope? Jake felt the warmth from the group as they waited expectantly, smiles urging him onward. The hum of laughter and clinking glasses blurred into a comforting backdrop, a steady rhythm thrumming in his chest. He wiped his hands against his trousers, a habit he had developed when nerves took over. "You live in the city?" one of the guests asked, a woman with bright red lipstick that matched her vibrant personality. "Yes," he replied. "We have a small place. It's cozy." "Cozy is good," she exclaimed, her enthusiasm infectious. "That means you're close to everything. The culture, the food, the life." The words spilled from her lips, filling the air with a sense of excitement. Jake couldn't help but smile at her energy. Life had its way of throwing punches, but here they were, and for the first time in ages, he felt like part of something bigger than himself. "Tell us about your kids," someone else chimed in, their interest genuine. His chest tightened immediately, thoughts of his children mingling with trepidation. "I have two, a daughter and a son," he began, picturing their faces. "They mean everything to me. I'm just trying to make sure they have everything they need." The laughter around him faded as they listened, each face now a mirror of empathy. "Oh, what are their names?" a man asked, leaning closer, encouraging him to dive deeper. "Emily and Daniel. They both love the park. We go there every Saturday." As he spoke, the words rolled off his tongue easier, buoyed by the warmth of shared experiences. "Emily loves to swing, and Daniel, well, he's a little daredevil, always climbing the jungle gym like he's on a mission." "Sounds like you have quite the adventure every weekend," Another guest chuckled. Jake nodded, feeling that the weight of his daily struggle was slowly retreating, replaced by the joy his children brought him. Yeah, I guess, he said, glancing around the group. It's a lot of work, but I wouldn't change it for anything. Before long, the guests' stories began intertwining with his own. They shared their own struggles, tales of resilience, and overcoming obstacles in their lives. In that moment, much of his insecurities slipped away, replaced by a sense of camaraderie. It was strange yet liberating, a powerful reminder of the universal bonds people could forge through sharing. Then, just as he thought he might be ready to offer something more substantial about himself, the stranger from earlier appeared again. "How are you holding up, Jake?" she asked, concern flickering across her face. "I think I'm okay," he replied, stuffing his hands in his pockets, a grin breaking out despite his lingering doubts. "Good," she said, her voice softening. "You're doing great. Charles will be back in a moment, and I think he wants to introduce you to more people." The pulse of anxiety returned, but not overpowering. Someone thought he was worth connecting with. For the first time, the thought of help didn't feel like a burden. But he didn't have long to contemplate. The crowd shifted as Charles returned, beaming, as though he carried a sunbeam with him. "Jake, fantastic to see you still here," he said, as if the energy of the room focused on him. "I just had an idea. There's an initiative I'm involved with, community support programs that focus on helping parents like you." Jake froze. The thought of receiving help felt so foreign, yet a spark of curiosity ignited. "What might that look like?" Jake asked, as attitudes shifted from curiosity to poignant intrigue. Charles leaned in, his eyes gleaming with genuine purpose. "Let us sit down. I want to discuss how we can partner up. You deserve the chance to thrive, not just survive." As Jake listened, his heart raced with hope and bewilderment. Could he actually grasp this opportunity? In the swell of voices and laughter around him, clarity began to take root. This wasn't merely a random gala, it was a gateway, and perhaps, just perhaps, he could step through it into a different chapter of his life. As Jake gazed at Charles, anticipation thrummed in the air. Just how far would this conversation go? What would it mean for his family? Jake felt as if the room had narrowed to a single point, just him and Charles. The chatter faded into a low hum as he stared at the man whose gaze sparkled with an eagerness that felt almost contagious. He had spent so long carrying his burdens alone, each day blending seamlessly into the next, and now suddenly an opportunity loomed before him like an expansive horizon. "So what's the initiative about?" Jake inquired, trying to steady the excitement bubbling beneath his skin. Charles cleared a space on a nearby table, motioning for Jake to sit. "It's designed to connect parents with resources and each other. We want to create a network, a community where you can access support, share experiences, and simply breathe a little easier." Jake nodded slowly, letting the words wash over him. "A community?" It sounded wonderful, but also terrifying. "And you think I fit into that?" "More than you know," Charles replied, his tone firm yet warm. "You've already shown such resilience. Sharing your story tonight took courage. You're not alone in this." The weight of those words sank in heavy, like a rock dropping into calm water, creating ripples of comfort in Jake's heart. "I really want to do what's best for Emily and Daniel. Sometimes I feel lost." Charles leaned forward, his face earnest. "We all feel lost at times. That's why reaching out is so important. Family isn't just the people you live with. It's also the support we build around us." Jake ruminated for a moment, glancing around the room filled with laughter and connections, thinking about how isolated he had often felt. "How do I even start?" With careful intent, Charles outlined some of the programs offered. "We have workshops, family support groups, resources for childcare. There's so much potential for growth. It's all about taking small steps." Just as the encouragement began to dissolve the last remnants of doubt in Jake's mind, a voice broke through the moment. It was the woman with the vibrant lipstick. "What are you guys plotting over here?" she teased playfully, her smile lighting up the space. Jake couldn't help but chuckle. "Just discussing some ideas for bringing the community together. Count me in. I'd love to help," she exclaimed. Her enthusiasm was infectious, immediately drawing others near. Soon, a small group formed, eager to share their own stories and insight. Ideas bounced around like playful sparks, lifting Jake's spirits higher. He felt his throat tighten with gratitude and disbelief. The loneliness he'd grown accustomed to began to vaporize before his eyes. Every person who chimed in shared a glimpse of their struggles, their hopes, and before long, Jake found himself laughing, his heart swelling with the warmth of newfound kinship. Charles patted him on the back. "See, you're already part of something. You can do this. You don't have to do it alone." The door to possibilities swung wide, casting a light into Jake's heart that he hadn't realized he had been awaiting. The thought of stepping outside his comfort zone no longer felt like a daunting leap, it felt like a chance to soar. As the conversation continued, Jake found himself immersed, his thoughts racing ahead to what this could mean for his kids, for their nights filled with laughter instead of worry, for adventures that could become routine. But in the back of his mind, a flicker of uncertainty lingered. Could he really navigate this new normal? Would he falter again? Just as those thoughts began to gnaw at him, Charles's confident voice broke through, bringing him back to the moment. "Tonight's just the beginning, Jake. Let us keep building on this connection." As the night wore on, Jake looked around at the smiling faces, every one of them a potential ally in this fight for a better future. He might just have begun a journey he needed, but the question remained, what would be the next step on this new path he had stumbled upon? Jake felt the weight of anticipation as the laughter and chatter enveloped him. There was a new pulse in his chest, a flicker of hope igniting. He leaned back, momentarily soaking in the atmosphere, letting the warmth of belonging wash over him. The vibrant woman, who had burst into their conversation, was now sharing her story. "I was really down after my divorce. I didn't know how to face anything," she admitted, her eyes glistening. "But connecting with others has changed everything for me. It's how I learned to be strong for my kids. It really does take a village." Her words resonated in Jake's heart. He shared brief glances with Charles, who smiled knowingly, encouraging him silently to open up. "Wow, that's incredible. I felt pretty lost myself," Jake said, his voice steadying as the room turned towards him. He recounted a bit of his own struggle, the nights of tossing and turning, haunted by the specters of guilt and fatigue. His words hung in the air, a moment of connection that felt profound. A man with a welcoming grin slumped forward. "Man, I get that. There were nights when I'd just lie there wondering how I'd make it to morning. But now look at us. We're all in this together." Jake felt the knots in his stomach loosen. It was incredibly reassuring to know he wasn't alone in this. As he spoke, he noticed others chiming in, each sharing pieces of their journeys. There was laughter punctuated by the honest weight of shared struggles. Gradually, a realization swept over him. This wasn't just a group of people. It was a mosaic of resilience, each face adding a unique story of endurance, desperation, and triumph. "Let us put our heads together, everyone," Charles suggested. "How about we brainstorm some immediate steps we can take?" The room buzzed with energy as ideas flew back and forth. Jake found himself taking notes, jotting down the names of initiatives that caught his interest. He never imagined he would feel so alive, so immersed in a purpose that transcended his own worries. Suddenly, the woman in the vibrant lipstick offered, "What if we organize a community event? We could host a picnic or something, get families out and mingling. Food always brings people together." Jake's heart raced at the thought of children laughing and families connecting. It sounded just right. "I could help with planning. I am decent at organizing," he said, the idea forming a path forward. "Great. And I can bring the grills." Another voice chimed in enthusiastically. The room erupted in laughter, everyone aflame with excitement. As the night unspooled, it became increasingly clear that each person here had something to offer, a part to play. Jake's heart soared, the walls around his soul crumbling further with every shared laugh and idea exchanged. But just as he began to feel a sense of purpose blossom, a flicker of doubt crept back in. What if he didn't have enough to contribute? What if he let everyone down? "Hey, keep that chin up, my friend." The man with the friendly grin nudged him gently. "We're in this together. No pressure. Just be you." Jake breathed deeply, that encouragement washing over him like a soft breeze. As the evening wound down, the new friends exchanged phone numbers, eager to keep the momentum going. Jake stepped outside into the crisp night air, a grin breaking free on his face. He felt lighter, as if the burdens he had been carrying for too long had begun to dissipate. Yet still, uncertainty lingered. Would he be able to contribute as much as the others? As he stared at the stars wrapped in the cool night, He whispered a silent promise to himself. He would try. For Emily. For Daniel. For this newfound family he'd just begun to carve out. But in the back of his mind, a question floated. Who else might be out there, longing for connection like he was? And would they even come to find him? The morning sun peeked through Jake's window, wrapping his small apartment in a soft, golden light. He awoke with a flutter in his chest, his mind racing with the thoughts from the previous night's gathering. The excitement of planning, the laughter shared, and the connections made felt almost electric. He showered quickly, the water washing away the remnants of doubt. Glancing in the mirror, he gave himself a purposeful nod. Today would be different. Not a day to retreat into the shadows of insecurity, but to step forward with courage. He grabbed a notepad, his thoughts racing about the picnic that on his commute to work. He replayed the conversations in his mind, especially the vibrant woman's passionate spark. What was her name again? It didn't matter. Her energy had ignited something inside him, and he wanted to carry that flame through the day. At the office, the usual hum of machines and chatter faded into the background as he became lost in planning. Ideas for activities flowed, each design stormed with laughter. Tossing around thought after thought, he found himself smiling at the mere idea of it. His boss walked by, raising an eyebrow at Jake's enthusiastic scribbles. "What has got you so animated today, Jake?" "I'm helping organize a community picnic," Jake said, pride swelling in his voice. "It's about connecting people, giving them a space to breathe and belong." His boss's expression softened, a rare break from his normally stern demeanor. "That sounds wonderful. You know, we could use more of that in our lives." Jake was taken aback. They worked together for years, but never had he heard that tone of softness from his boss. It's amazing how one thought can spread warmth. It's something I often forget, especially in our line of work. Feeling buoyed by the exchange, Jake spent his lunch break drafting a more detailed plan for the picnic. He texted the group, sharing his ideas alongside a suggestion for a potluck. Soon, his phone pinged with responses, each one more enthusiastic than the last. As the sun dipped low in the horizon, Jake stepped out of the office, fueled by a newfound sense of community. On his way home, he passed a small park, where families gathered, children running beneath the swaying branches of trees. He stopped, taking it all in the laughter, the joy. For a heartbeat, he felt a pang of something deeper, a longing for true connection, a craving for more. But then, a commotion to his right caught his attention. A man in a suit was fumbling at the ATM, clearly agitated. Jake approached cautiously as the man slammed his hands on the machine. "What's wrong?" Jake asked, his instinct to help swooping in. "I can't get cash, and I need to pay for my kid's medication," the man said, voice trembling. In that moment, Jake felt a tug at his heart. He fished in his wallet, pulled out a crisp bill, and held it towards the man. "Here, please take this." The surprise in the man's eyes was palpable. "Are you sure?" "Yes. It's only money," Jake replied, his breath hitting in sudden warmth from what he was doing. Being there for someone can mean more than just a transaction. As the man's eyes glistened with gratitude, Jake realized it wasn't just about the help. It was about the impact of human connection, honest and raw. He watched as the man hurried away, relief flooding his features. Huddled in the corner, a few teenagers were witnessing the exchange, their eyes wide. A girl smiled at Jake, and something in her gaze sparked an idea. What if the picnic could be an opportunity for others to give back? Jake's breath caught, the realization taking shape. He had a vehicle for connection right there, waiting to be fueled by kindness. In that moment, he knew the picnic was more than just an event. It would be a movement, a ripple of change starting in their community. But as an exciting wave surged through him, another thought hovered in the back of his mind. What if he wasn't enough to lead it? What if he couldn't inspire the same warmth in others? With determination fueling his steps, he headed home, ready to share this vision. But as he walked, another voice whispered within him. Would the heart of the community embrace this thought, or would they remain bound by their own fears? Jake stepped into his apartment, the door clicking shut behind him, sealing off the world for a moment. He leaned against it, letting out a slow breath as thoughts swirled in his head. Connecting with people, creating warmth, encouraging kindness. What if he truly could make a difference? What if the picnic was the spark their community needed? He put down his notepad, now filled with doodled ideas and excited scribbles, and sat on the edge of his couch. For a fleeting moment, doubt washed over him like a cold wave. Faces of people he'd known forever loomed in his mind. Were they ready for the kind of connection he envisioned? But that thought quickly faded when he recalled the man's grateful expression. That single moment of kindness had sparked something new in him, a determination. After a quick bite for dinner, he took out his phone and stared at the group's chat. Blood pumped in his veins as he started typing. What if we set up a volunteer team at the picnic? A chance for everyone to give back to someone in need? We can create fun stations where people can lend a hand. He hesitated, second-guessing himself. Was this too much? But he hit send before he could change his mind. Responses poured in almost immediately. Love it. One friend typed. That's brilliant. Another added. Encouraged, Jake smiled, feeling warmth radiate from the screen. He decided to send a voice note as well, letting the excitement bubble over. Imagine a table where families can share their stories, or kids can learn how to help someone their own age. It could be about sharing skills, food, and laughter. We could inspire giving. The group responded, buzzing with enthusiasm. Ideas flew back and forth, each one more energizing than the last. This wasn't just a picnic anymore. It was a bright little dream, blooming into a full-fledged plan right before his eyes. As the evening transitioned to night, Jake felt a comforting peace settle around him. He leaned back, listening to the sounds of the city through his window. A couple of kids were still laughing outside, their joy ringing out in the cool air. Something surged within him, a hope that was both invigorating and terrifying. Suddenly, a text pinged. It was from the vibrant woman from last night. Her name finally revealed itself, Maya. Hey Jake, I loved your vision for the picnic. I'd love to help out. Count me in. Just seeing her name sparked a flurry of emotions. He hadn't expected her reach out so quickly, and she gave him courage. With newfound determination, he replied, let us meet up tomorrow to brainstorm ideas. I think this could really be something special. He hit send again, a smile spreading across his face. But even as excitement built in him, doubt lingered in the corners of his mind. Was he really enough to lead this change? Did he even know how to pull this off? The weight of expectation loomed, heavier than before. Yet, something deep inside him whispered that this was a chance for growth for everyone. As he lay in bed that evening, the stars twinkling beyond his window, an idea wove through his mind. What if he could motivate others to push through their fears and join him on this journey? But more importantly, what was he willing to risk to ensure this vision wasn't just a dream, but reality? He closed his eyes, the questions swirling like smoke in the dark. Could he truly inspire a movement? Would the hearts of his community be willing to embrace this? Tomorrow would be a big day, and he had to be ready. As he drifted off to sleep, he knew he couldn't let fear win. And so, the stage was set for the challenge ahead. Would the people rally around his idea, or would he be left standing alone, shadows of uncertainty closing in? Jake woke to the sound of his alarm, the beeping cutting through the fog of sleep like a sharp knife. Today was the day, no more dreaming, just doing. He rubbed his eyes, still tangled in the warmth of his blanket, and felt a wave of urgency wash over him. He would meet Maya, and together, they would transform the community picnic into something special. After a quick shower, he threw on a comfortable t-shirt and jeans. Glancing in the mirror, he took a deep breath. Today, he needed to be confident, to show that he was ready to lead. With his heart racing, he grabbed his phone and texted Maya, "Can't wait to brainstorm. See you at the coffee shop at 10? The walk to the coffee shop felt electric. The sun peeked through the trees, casting dappled light on the sidewalk. People passed by, oblivious to the change blossoming in Jake's heart. As he stepped inside, he spotted Maya at a corner table, her vibrant energy sparkling even more in the daylight. "Hey," she greeted, a bright smile lighting her face. "Glad to see you. Thanks for meeting me," Jake said, sliding into the seat across from her. "I'm really excited about what we can come up with together." Maya leaned forward, a glow of enthusiasm in her eyes. "Me too, Jake. So, let us get started. I love the idea of sharing skills at the picnic. What if we invite local artists or musicians to showcase their work?" Jake felt the spark of inspiration ignite in his chest. "Yes, and we could have a kid's corner where they can paint or make crafts. It'll be like a little art expo." "Exactly," Maya exclaimed, her hands animated. And how about a food station where everyone brings a dish that represents them? We could get people talking and sharing stories. As they tossed ideas around, laughter bubbled between them, and Jake felt the weight of doubt lift. This was what he had envisioned: people connecting, sharing, and becoming a part of something bigger. But just then, as if a shadow had crossed the sunlight, a thought crept back into his mind. What if no one comes? What if we put all this effort in, and it falls flat? Maya looked at him, her expression shifting to one of genuine concern. Jake, every great movement starts with a leap of faith. You're already making a difference by putting this together. Trust the community to show up. Her words resonated deep within him, pushing back against the fear trying to take hold. He nodded slowly, a newfound determination igniting. You're right. It's about connection, and I could use a little more of that myself. As they wrapped up their meeting, Maya brought up another idea. Let us create a Facebook event. We can use social media to spread the word and get everyone involved. They spent the rest of the day creating the event, sharing it among friends and neighbors. Each notification that pinged brought excitement. This was more than just a picnic now, it was a celebration of their community. By the end of the day, Jake felt a shift within himself. It wasn't just about leading. It was about coming together. But even as he felt a swell of hope, he realized he needed to confront something deeper: the fear of vulnerability. The next morning, he stared at his phone, about to post an emotional message about his own journey and the importance of kindness. But what if others didn't understand? What if they judged him? Taking a deep breath, he pressed post and felt his heart skip. Would they embrace his honesty, or would it drive them away? He shut his eyes tightly, waiting for the reactions to flood in. What would they say? Would this be the moment that changed everything, or would he be met with silence? Jake's heart raced as he sat on his bed, his phone still clutched in his hand. He could feel the weight of his own honesty as he sensed the vulnerability creeping in. Moments went by like hours, and just as doubt began to worm its way in again, a notification chimed. He let out a breath he didn't realize he was holding. Sitting up straighter, he glanced at the screen. The comments started rolling in. His anxiety twisted at the corners of his mind, but as he read through each reply, he felt a warmth unfurl within him. This is so brave, Jake. One friend wrote, "Thank you for sharing." Another echoed. Encouragement flooded his senses, lifting the fears he had clutched so tightly. He couldn't help but smile, a wave of gratitude washing over him. There was a connection blooming that he hadn't anticipated. Each comment was a reminder that people wanted to be seen, to be heard, just like him. Maybe this picnic wasn't just about organizing events. It was about building a bridge. Maya texted, "I just saw your post. It's amazing. Can't wait to share it with my friends." As the notifications flooded in, Jake felt the urgency he had felt earlier return, but this time, it was laced with excitement. There was a shift happening. After a quick shower and fresh clothes, he headed out to meet Maya, his mind buzzing with fresh ideas. He picked up a coffee for himself and a pastry for her, determined to kick off their brainstorming session with a sweet start. When he arrived at the coffee shop, Maya was already there, animatedly discussing plans with another friend, Emma. As Jake approached, he caught snippets of their conversation and felt something click in his chest. This was growing into more than just a picnic. It was a movement. "Hey you." Maya greeted him, smile contagious as always. "I showed your post to Emma. We're so inspired. Every comment is like fuel for the fire." They dove into discussing logistics: how many tables would be needed, who should be invited, and what kind of music would fit the vibe. Brainstorming together felt as natural as breathing, a rhythm forming between them that Jake had longed for. Amid their excitement, Emma chimed in, "We could even have a kindness wall where people can stick notes with positive messages or compliments. It could be something really special." Jake nodded enthusiastically. Yes, imagine people writing about acts of kindness they've experienced. It'll inspire others to pay it forward. The ideas flowed like they were catching a wave, the air charged with possibility. The coffee shop transformed around them into a hub of creativity. Ideas bounced back and forth, invigorating Jake's spirit like a concert, each note resonating within his heart. As they wrapped up for the day, Jake felt a sense of empowerment he hadn't found in years. He wanted to bring this feeling to the whole community. But just as he felt elation peek through, a shadow loomed again. What if it wasn't enough? "Can we handle the turnout?" he asked softly, almost ashamed of the question. The more the merrier, right? Maya replied, her tone light, but Jake sensed the seriousness behind her words. It's about bringing people together, not just the numbers. She was right, of course. It was about connection. Yet, lingering in Jake's mind was the fear of failure. What if amidst the joy and excitement, something went wrong? He took a deep breath, releasing the pressure. All right, let us do this. As they packed up to leave, Jake's heart pounded with anticipation. But unexpectedly, a message pinged in his inbox. It was an old friend reaching out, someone he had lost touch with. I heard about the picnic. Can we talk? I'd love to catch up. The universe was nudging him, pulling him further down this path. What did this mean? Would this be the moment everything changed? Jake stood at the edge of the park, looking out at the vast lawn filled with bright colors and laughter. The day had finally arrived. The community picnic, a dream he had nurtured and shaped with friends, was about to begin. The smell of grilled burgers wafted through the air, mingling with the crisp scent of fresh grass. Families were already arriving, small children darting around with faces painted in bold designs. His heart raced with both excitement and nerves. What if it all comes crashing down? He thought, angst gnawing at him. He had poured everything into this event, transforming his worries into a catalyst for connection. As guests filtered in, he heard the music starting, a local band strumming happy tunes that set the mood just right. Maya appeared beside him, her smile radiant. Look at this turnout, Jake. This is incredible. Jake's throat tightened. I just hope everyone finds it meaningful, he replied, glancing around. But as people mingled, shared food, and laughed, he could feel the walls of anxiety begin to crumble. Hey, Emma called from a nearby table where the kindness wall was being set up. People are already writing their notes. It's beautiful. Jake felt his heart soar. It was real. Connection was happening. Let us check it out, Maya urged, her excitement carrying them over. They weaved through the crowd, passing familiar faces from the gala and new ones drawn in by the spirit of the event. When they reached the wall, Jake saw messages of hope, encouragement, and gratitude. I didn't think this was possible, he murmured, overwhelmed by the sight. Just then, a familiar face approached. It was the man from the ATM, the one he had helped just days ago. Jake, he called excitedly, his eyes glistening. I came to thank you. You inspired me to give back to others just like you did for me. Before Jake could respond, the man embraced him tightly, warmth radiating from his sincere gratitude. Tears stung Jake's eyes as the realization washed over him. This wasn't just a picnic, it was a heartfelt exchange of kindness, a movement born out of their shared experiences. It felt like everything he had been working toward was starting to take root. Suddenly, Maya's voice broke through his thoughts. We should start the activities soon. Everyone's eager to join in. Jake nodded, adrenaline surging through him. Let us do this. As he took the microphone, Jake felt every eye in the crowd focus on him, expectant and supportive. He took a deep breath, remembering the tremors of doubt he held on to for so long, the fear of inadequacy that had almost stopped him in his tracks. Hey everyone, he began, voice steady yet filled with emotion. Today, we're celebrating more than just a picnic. We're building a community where we lift each other up. Be brave and share your kindness. The cheers that erupted around him enveloped him in an exhilarating wave. Over the next few hours, laughter echoed as kids and adults alike participated in games and activities, sharing stories, and exchanging kindness notes. It was then Jake felt such a deep connection to every person present, an unbreakable bond forming through shared joy and sorrow. As the sky turned a soft golden hue, Jake sounded the call for their final activity, a group photo. Let's capture this moment, this beautiful community we created together. Families gathered close, arms slung around shoulders, joy etched across every face. When the camera clicked, Jake caught a glimpse of Maria and the kids, beaming with pride in the back. Their smiles centered him, wiping away the last remnants of doubt. Maybe he was finally enough, not just for them, but for himself and for others who needed the same adventure ahead. As the crowd dispersed, laughter still ringing in the air, Jake looked around, heart full. He knew this was not just a one-time event. This was the beginning of something larger, a wave of kindness that would ripple through their lives. You did it, Jake. Maya's voice brought him back. You made this happen. I think you've sparked something beautiful in our community. Jake smiled, feeling hope. rise within him. Together, we did. And we can continue to do more, he assured her. The spark he had ignited that first night at the gala had morphed into a roaring flame, lighting the way forward for not just him, but for everyone. This was a moment of transformation. A moment they could all hold on to, a reminder that vulnerability breeds strength, and each act of kindness brings them all a little closer to each other. With joyful determination warming his heart, Jake knew he would always be part of something bigger. And he felt that connection echoing back to him, the gentle reassurance that he would never have to fight his battles alone again. The future loomed ahead, bright and inviting. And as Jake turned to his family, laughter spilling out between them, he couldn't help but whisper, "Let us keep this journey going." It was time to embrace the gifts of humanity, to share warmth and kindness, as they all walked forward together, creating a community united in love. Now, here's where you come in. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us reach more hearts. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this ending. It means everything to us. And for the love of connections, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait, not even one more second to share. Your support makes a difference.